Our guest today is a photographer who has been perfecting the art of taking images from a helicopter for over 50 years. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced on the campus of Madonna University. I'm Chris Benson. Today we have Dale Fisher here to talk with us about his career in showcasing the beauty of Michigan with photography. You can see a lot of that beauty behind and around me. So Dale, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. But I want to point out a correction right away.
Oh my, okay.
You said over 50 years. It has been over 70.
Oh my goodness. So that doesn't seem hardly possible. Dale, how is that possible?
Infinitely possible, because I had my 86th birthday last April. So.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
A little belated. So how long have you been taking photographs then? Since what age?
Well, I don't know how old I was in the 8th grade in junior high school, but that's actually where I started.
Tell me that story. I'd love to hear how you started.
Oh, it's a little bit of embarrassment here. My physical science teacher in the 8th grade decided that he was going to open a darkroom and have 6 weeks of photography class. And I said, cool, I get to be in the darkroom with girls.
Oh. There you go.
It didn't do me a darn bit of good. They didn't pay any more attention to me in the dark than they did in the daylight. So.
Well, it's a great story, though. It makes for good TV, right?
I hope so.
Well, we have some amazing photos that you've brought with you today. And I was reading a little bit about you before the show, and I had no idea that there was this concept of helicopter photography, and I believe that you may have started that trend. Can you talk about it a little?
I can talk about it a lot, as a matter of fact. And I can't say that I started it, but I probably was one of the very early practitioners. And the United States Navy grabbed me when I was relatively young. I was 17 years old when I enlisted, and the Korean War was on and things were moving along relatively fast. Well, I was trained very thoroughly. I'm sure the Navy spent a fortune making me into an airborne spy and a general photographer. So after the school thing that didn't work out with the girls, well, then I just went in the Navy. I was heartbroken.
And that's where you kind of got your start.
I would say yes. I could not have learned anywhere else what I learned in the military. Everything I learned then, however, is of no use to anybody now. It used to be that if you wanted to get pictures of enemy territory, you send an airplane with a man in it and a camera. Now they send a drone.
Well, for someone who's a Spartan, I could say that you are getting pictures of enemy territory, because when I look at your shirt and I see the photo here, I see Michigan, but I know you've spent so much time in Ann Arbor, and these are amazing photos. So talk about your love of the Ann Arbor area.
Well, when you're talking about enemy territory, you and I have a whole different opinion about which is the enemy.
I believe that's true.
Anyhow, I got out of the Navy in 1954, came home to Ann Arbor, went to work for the Ann Arbor News, and you know what? I just lost my mind.
Oh, well, you were talking about Ann Arbor and your love of taking photography there.
You'll have to excuse me. At my age, I do that all the time.
That's okay. The good news is we have lots to talk about.
I got out of Navy and went to work for the Ann Arbor News. I enrolled at the university at the same time, stayed there for about 3 semesters. I was already trained for what God wanted me to do. And my first assignment at the Ann Arbor News was to photograph a Michigan football game. And that was the old days. Benny Oosterbaan was the coach.
Oh, wow.
Benny retired in 1957. And Fritz Chrysler was the athletic director. Chrysler Arena is named after him. I have been photographing Michigan athletics and primarily football ever since that time.
Wow, and the awesome shots, just to see, the big house, of course, there's nothing quite like it, and to see the perspective that you've captured with it is just amazing.
Yeah, and the changes have been significant. especially in the menu for the photographers and the reporters. In the old press box, they used to give us a hot dog wrapped in tinfoil that they made the day before. Now, they actually serve some pretty nice meals in that press box.
Wonderful. So what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in the landscape of Ann Arbor? Your perspective is one that not many people get to have.
I can tell you that my grandfather lived at 818 Brown Street, which is 2 blocks straight north of the Michigan Stadium. The neighbors next door had a cow.
Wow, so things have changed.
Things
have really changed.
Yes.
Wow, and you've been photographing that area for so long. You've probably seen some just patterns and shifts in what you were able to capture.
Ann Arbor has been in an evolution, continuous. I don't know how many times I have flown over Ann Arbor, and I have seen different things every time. And I'm talking about photographic subjects, things that I really probably overlooked or didn't see. And so I love to fly over Ann Arbor still.
In all seasons?
Yes. I'm not so cool on, well, cool is not a good word, about in the winter.
Yeah.
You fly with the door off.
Oh.
Your speed over the ground is 120 miles an hour, so you multiply that by the wind chill factor, and it's cold.
Yeah, that's definitely not something that I would be interested in.
I would prefer to work down south in the winter.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah. And you've seen not just Ann Arbor, I know Ypsilanti area, and those all around in Michigan, that area.
Yes, yeah. I've photographed just about everywhere in the state of Michigan.
And I know we've got some books. We're going to take a break in just a minute, but I know you've got 3 volumes on Ann Arbor. So you've got I believe it's 3 different books on Ann Arbor?
Yes, ooh. And I'm working on one now, which is my final book, and it is Washtenaw County Visions of the Eagle.
Wow.
Great part of it is Ann Arbor, but all the other cities in Washtenaw County.
Wow. Well, we'll be right back. Stay tuned and we'll hear more from Dale Fisher and see more of his great photography. Stay tuned. Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and I'm here again with Dale Fisher, and we're talking all about the photography that you see around me, the books that he has produced from this awesome perspective of a helicopter. So I will just want to revisit real quickly. So you did get your time started as a reconnaissance in the Navy, so that kind of gave you the experience, but then you took it to an art form after that.
Yes, and that part of it comes with the body. That's a God-given thing. The technical aspects of photography are basically unimportant because anybody can learn that. I have a nonprofit children's program, Michigan Center for the Photographic Arts.
Oh, neat.
And I can teach kids the mechanics of photography. The hard thing is, and almost impossibility, is teaching them how to see. This whole program was designed to make them aware of their surroundings and attempt to teach them how to see.
And I'm fascinated by that statement that you made, because I feel like the photographs I take are so staged, and then I see pictures like the ones you have, and you capture a moment, and I feel like I would love to learn how to see that moment. Because I feel like I look at the horizon and I see like there's a tree, there's a person, and when you look at it, there's a story.
It's something I can't explain, as a matter of fact, but timing is everything.
Yeah.
And I watch people taking pictures, and I say, take it, take it, take it. And then, of course, they move things around, or they look, and it's gone. It's been gone for quite a while. So the timing, the positioning, simple composition is take a rectangle and chop it into quarters or thirds. And if you do it thirds, the foreground is the first third, the subject is the second third, and the skyline is the third third. And then you can chop it into thirds the other way, and anytime one of those lines crosses, that's a potential center of interest. Now, do you think that while you're looking at a picture? No, you don't, but it gets embedded in your brain, and that's the way you look at things.
Well, I definitely know you think that, because when I look at the photographs that you've taken, again, I feel like every one is a story. When I think about the fact that you took these from a helicopter, can you just explain? I have trouble taking a photograph on the ground and having it turn out, without someone's eyes closed or as a blur. What are the differences when you're taking them aerially and from a helicopter?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you're working from a helicopter, you don't get people with their eyes closed because they're too far away.
Okay, good.
But helicopter photography, and now in this day and age, people talk about drones. And the one thing about being in a helicopter is that you have peripheral vision, and you can see everything that's going on for a long way away. And I watch things come together as we're moving. Focusing in the air, not a problem, because you're basically shooting on infinity. Your camera's just basically set on that all the time. My work is, the helicopter work is from a different dimension. And I like to think that it's anywhere from 50 feet to 300 or 400 feet off the ground.
Okay.
Very few people spend any time there. They're on the way up or they're on the way down. And so the thing that I have done, and I can't tell you how I did this, I did not do it in the Navy because I spent my time looking through a hole in the bottom of an airplane. Wasn't anything artistic about that at all. It was just pushing the right button. But it's a matter of having developed an eye or an instinct. That's all I can, that's the only way I can explain it. And I can't teach you that.
Well, and I can totally validate that, because I feel like I don't have that instinct, and I think it's, when I look at your work, and I know you've done quite a few books too, the perspective is just unique. Do you feel like when you were looking through that little hole in the plane in the Navy, do you feel like that helped form your interest in this particular perspective, or was it something else?
No. Because there's no perspective to it at all. It's like looking at a road map. And so it's very dull and boring, very mathematical, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there a favorite photo you have now that in your collection?
I do, and I didn't bring it with me,
Okay.
but it's a picture of an eagle in flight, and a pilot that was flying with me, Richard Jackson, and I, we were out over Lake Superior, and we were looking. The Lake Superior is never calm. It was, and we could see these big sturgeon.
Oh, wow.
They're bottom fish, but they were at the top. And we tried not to scare them. Well, we ended up not getting a picture of a sturgeon, and we're 5 miles out in the lake. And here's this eagle, and he's just flying along. And so we had tried to photograph eagles before. We got in behind, and I told Rich, don't push him, and we just snuck up on him. I knew when he came over the shoreline he was going to leave us, and I made one picture of that, and he was leaving. His little tip feathers were ready. He was going to turn to the right. And that's my signature piece.
Awesome.
I am one of the few people that have flown eyeball to eyeball with an eagle.
With an eagle.
Yes.
And so then the question I have before we go to the break is, how many pictures did you have to take to get that one shot?
Well, one, because he was gone.
That was it. You only had, so one shot.
That was it, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely could take some pointers from you because I have to take a lot to get the one shot.
The one thing that I notice about people now with digital imaging is they use their camera as a machine gun.
Interesting.
Just like bam, 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 or automatic bam, and,
Lots of ones that are not effective.
And then they look to find a good one and all that. If they would have taken their time and find the good one first, they wouldn't have to
work so hard. Well, we have to take another quick break. We're going to hear more from Dale in just a minute here on Celebrate Michigan, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. We're back again with Dale Fisher, and I'm Chris Benson. Dale, I'd love to have you talk about your latest book, Jackson County Visions of the Eagle. What inspired you to do this book?
I don't know if it was an inspiration. I think it was a request.
Okay.
And some folks in Jackson who knew me from Ann Arbor said, Dale, why don't you do a book on Jackson? I said, fine, I will. Give me a hand and dig up some sponsors. All of my books they're self-published.
Wow.
And they require a big pile of money.
I bet.
And they're all supported by sponsors. And so a guy by the name of Ron Ellison, who has a business in Jackson, put together a group of people, well, three, I called them the Three Musketeers, and they rounded up sponsors and helped me get the book started. But it started out to be an 80-page booklet because Jackson was too small to do a helicopter version.
Sure.
And in looking and meeting people in Jackson, good people doing good things, the book just grew.
Wow.
And I am working on now a final book. This is going to, Jackson County Visions of the Eagle. The book that I'm working now is Washtenaw County Visions of the Eagle.
Oh, wow.
It will be patterned after the Jackson book, but it is much more people-oriented.
Yeah. And I noticed now you can't be much more people-oriented than that. So where was this one taken?
That's at
Faster
Michigan
Horses.
International, the Faster Horses
concert.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
I imagine people will be buying this book just to say, there I am, right there.
If they knew that the book was available, they just might do that. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So how long did it take you to produce this?
That book, took about 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
I have been working on the Washtenaw County book for 8 years. I started that before the Jackson book, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
And so the Washtenaw County book is going to be kicked off at the Chad Foundation fundraiser in Ann Arbor in next May.
Yes.
And everybody that comes to that fundraiser will walk out of there with a book.
Oh, wow.
All 750 people, and it will have a custom cover on it that little Chad, when he passed away, they put his picture up on the scoreboard in the stadium.
Yes.
So that's going to be the cover of that particular book that the people that go to that fundraiser will receive.
How did you come to be involved with that foundation? I'm familiar with Chad Tuff.
I don't really know, to tell you the truth. I have been involved with it almost from the beginning, and I took pictures of Chad on the being in the stadium on the scoreboard.
Oh, neat.
And then they have had 3 major fundraisers. Well, I photographed all 3 of them, and the idea to put we're going to put a section in the Washtenaw County book on the Red Shoe, Ronald McDonald House, the University of Michigan Transplant Center,
oh, wow,
and Chad Tuff.
Oh, that's awesome to be involved with those wonderful organizations that just give back so much. I know that they probably appreciate you very much being part of it. Well,
I appreciate being part of it, to tell you the truth, and I'm a little bit emotional when it comes to this. When I think about little guys like Chad, and now today, if a child gets that, they're done. And so I'm just hoping that whatever goes into this will help someone. The other thing about it is that the research, I think already has been spilling over into other forms of cancer as well.
Yeah. Oh, an awesome story. Now, I know people who are watching are going to want to know how to find you. So I believe the website is dalefisherphotos.com, if I'm not mistaken.
I hope that that's it.
And it is a vast website. I just wanted to take a peek at it before the show, and I said, there are so many eras where you have just so captured amazing stories, amazing perspectives, definitely visions of the eagle. I think that's such an apt title for it. What do you hope that people who are watching the show take away from your work or your time with us?
I'm a very simple person.
Okay.
And I hope that they take away whatever they want to see in it, because everyone sees something different. And I'm hoping that the effect is at least positive. So, but I don't have any grandiose expectations.
Well, I think from starting with your first book, if I understand, Detroit was one of your first books.
That was, and Roger Smith was the chairman of General Motors back in those days, and J.P. McCarthy was a big promoter of that book, and now actually Paul W. was out at my farm about a month ago, and he has let me know that when we're going to reestablish a Michigan Center Children's Program, a photography program, where we send photographers into the schools and work with third grade kids.
Cool.
And so Paul said that he's going to help us get that started again.
Well, Dale, I just have to thank you for capturing the beauty of the state we live in. I'm a native Michigander, and I love living here, and I appreciate the work you've done to capture the beauty of this place. Thank you.
Well, you're quite welcome. And the state of Michigan is as beautiful in many different ways than any place that you can find on earth.
Said from the horse's mouth. So thank you, not to call you a horse. Thank you so much, Dale, for being with us, and thank you for capturing being with us here at Celebrate Michigan and spending time with us. We are so glad to have you, and we'll see you next time. Take care.